So, the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't need to win the draft, but after selecting Terrence Shannon Jr. and getting Rob Dillingham from the Spurs, they certainly are the ones who won the draft in my opinion. When watching the playoffs, you can see that it was a glaring problem that Minnesota didn't have another playmaker and scorer on the court like Anthony Edwards, so when you add in a wing who's athletic and has size like Terrence, he'll help a lot with the secondary offense. And then when we flip the page to Rob Dillingham, well, he's gonna bring you playmaking and absurd shot creation. These picks here complement the Wolves team nicely, and when you look at Rob Dillingham, there's a lot more to his game that people tend to not realize. Off first glance, he may look like one of those guards that's just flashy and opts into tough shots, but when you put his game under a microscope, you can see just how special he is. When he's getting to the basket, he has this second gear he can shift into going right past the defense, and when the defender thinks they can track it down, Rob will use that inside hand to put this up before the contest. But it's not just his driving game that's special, as when he wants to set up shop and snipe you from a distance, well, he can do just that. And with all that attention he commands on the court, guys can play all ball around him, and with the pass right on the money, Rob will set them up with an easy one inside. When looking at his time at Kentucky, in 32 games, Dillingham put up 15 points and 4 assists on 47% shooting from the field and 44% from deep. Just using that speed and finesse on the court, you'll see Rob get to a spot in a quickness here, but he stops on a dime off that step back to let the defender get on the trampoline, and here comes that step through for the floater. These abrupt stops can catch the defense off guard, making them get in the air prematurely, and then when that step through is initiated, he gets into the defender's space to double clutch this in for the and one. Standing at around 6'2", Rob has to find a way to outbeat defenders at times, and when you pair that with his aggressive attacking, here's where you see him go right at the defense head on and use these floats right over the top. As you can see here, Rob wastes no time feeding the defender a jab into a crossover off the catch, and now with this angle to get to the middle of the floor, Dillingham can get there easily, and instead of clashing inside with the big, he stops just short to use this floater. Honestly, it's not ideal for defenders to leave him unguarded, because when he attacks that closeout, he can be gone in a flash to the basket, and now you're watching him go get 2 points. Attacking closeouts is one of the most high leverage plays, because with his 44% shooting from deep, defenders have no choice but to close out hard, and now since their momentum is going towards the perimeter and Dillingham's is now going towards the basket, there's not many defenders that can plant and slide quick enough to stay with him, so now Rob can convert one of these tough scoop layups. When you take that quick action and pair it with his floater, it makes him nearly unguardable, because he can first beat his man off the dribble, and then before running into the crowded space, he's able to pull that floater out while he's on the run. This level of speed grants him many advantages, so even if he does wait for the defender, he can still explode past him to get downhill, and here's where we can see his craftiness with this carryover into a high arcing floater. When you're a smaller guard, you have to be crafty when navigating on the floor, so here after Dillingham shifts past the defender with the behind the back, he now only has one guy to beat to the basket, so with the leap into the defender, it takes away the contest, and this hang layup is a go-to for him. His driving game is truly something the defense has to be on high alert about, but before we dive deep into it, we must look at what can hinder him when getting inside. As we mentioned earlier, Rob is only 6'2" or so and isn't the most physical imposing guy, so instead of going head on into the trees, he'll avoid that contact and place the ball high on these shots, but this can lead to pretty bad misses. You can see here that he gets to the paint with ease, but now he faces an even tougher problem, which is converting over the big who's sliding over, and instead of going in strong, Dillingham bounces off his defender to toss this up over his head, which then pretty much just misses on the total opposite side of the rim. It's not that he can't get to the paint, as he can obviously get there whenever he wants, but it's the size that bothers him, as the bigs simply just have to go up straight and cause a ton of difficulty for Rob to complete the layup. Let's take a look at this play. We first get the classic Dillingham shift, so now with room and opportunity, Rob goes at the big, and right here is where he has many options. When coming off the pick and roll, he could pull the E-break on the defense, which allows the screener to roll towards the rim, and now you have that alley-oop connection. He could also stop on a dime and put up a controlled floater over the top of the big, and if not these two, he could continue to attack the basket and then wrap the pass back to the big man cutting down the lane. Now instead of any of those happening, Dillingham goes into the big slightly and then throws up another one of those over the head shots that land on the other side of the basket. Some of these problems are due to decision making, but also some are more based on his touch around the basket when met at the rim. But hold on, this isn't to say he can't convert through contact or defenders contesting him, but at the NBA level, he's going to need to be more sturdy and assertive when he's working his magic around the basket. Some people might disagree with me and say that this will be a major issue, but when you see how well he can zip past the defense, absorb the contact and finish the bucket, it's truly a testament to his potential. I know he might not be the guy that always invites the contact, but when he does give the defender a slight bump when driving to then put up a smooth floater, it makes him a for sure bucket. when you analyze young guards out of college, you can spot moves that might not work as well at the NBA level, but on the flip side, you can see plays like this where Rob uses one move to explode to the basket, and upon getting to the rim, he stays controlled while shielding off the big man and spins this off the glass. When he attacks the basket controlled and more methodical, this is when we see Dillingham at his best in my opinion, because not only do we get to see him get easier buckets, but they can also be entertaining highlights as well. Furthermore, this allows Rob to see the floor and calculate his next move, so now when he sees the backline defender waiting for him if he blows past, well here comes the counter as he uses the step back to nail the jumper. If you've been over here, you know how much I love the mid-range. Not only is it just another way to score the ball, but it's another way to exploit and catch the defense off guard. No longer can they just scheme for the drive or a 3-ball, as you can also operate in that in-between range. That handle that Dillingham uses to get to the basket helps him generate gaps between him and his defender for him to then pull up right over them. Since the defense will be hyper alert to him getting downhill, even the slightest moves will make them react hard, and just keeping it simple, the one dribble pull up is underway. It's not that he needs to use the mid-range a lot, but it will be a major key to unlock his game because NBA defenses will learn to play him better on his drives, so what better counter can you have than a mid-range butterball? Now I already know what some of you were thinking, and it's probably that having a 3-point shot is also a great counter. And hey, I can't lie, I definitely agree. Let's say you have bigs playing drop coverage on high pick and rolls, well okay yeah, you did take away the drive, but what you left open was an easy money walk down pull up. Defenses will be so set on not letting him get going downhill that Rob now has him at his mercy with every move, and with all this space, his target is in clear sights. On those fast breaks, you don't want to bite too hard, and you also don't want to lose track of him either, because guess what? 3 points is going on the board once you do. I know he's looked at as a shot creator, but his value can extend even further, as once you put him off ball, he'll navigate towards the open areas on the floor and make the defense pay up. Right here, he sets his man up perfectly running off the screen and knock it down from the top of the key, and on this play, you'll see his man run down to help, and instead of staying here where the defender could potentially get back if the pass is made, Rob moves over to the slot area, which makes this a lot more ground to cover and is straight cash. It's honestly subtle things that you do that can separate you from other shooters and also get you the easiest looks you could ask for. On inbound actions like this, Rob is set to curl off the screen to get the ball for an easy look or just to get the ball in, but if you've ever played basketball, you know when the defender fails to chase you and goes under the screen, well this is when you flare out and now you can let it fly in peace. Going under those screens never yields you good results when you're dealing with confident shooters, as they'll pull up once given the space, and on this play you'll see it again as this one comes just after he knocked down 2 back-to-back threes. But hey, soon enough defenders will start to learn to go over and chase him on the perimeter, but here's where that confidence and handle come into play and totally pick apart the defense. When he's pushing at you downhill, he's now able to use any move in his arsenal to gain that separation, and in rhythm, he can flow right into the jumper. Things can actually get really tough when you're guarding Dillingham because at one moment, the defense will think they have the perfect closeout, but in the next, they're now watching him sidestep away while they run into a screen allowing for another 3-ball to drop. The threat of him scoring does so much for his game, as now defenders will cater more attention to him, opening up these finds over the top, and with defenders alert to him pulling up from deep, he can split past the defense after the pump fake works in his favor, and this scoop layup at the front of the rim is elementary. This craftiness and offensive versatility will be huge for the Timberwolves, as not only do you get someone who can create for himself, but if needed, he can use that pick and roll, and options like this will present themselves when working with Cat, and with the best part of his game overall, he just oozes with this positive like energy that will be huge for his transition into the NBA. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.